Alright, now we come to the fighters and the last category, thank God. Anyways, first one, number one is Khazix. Come on, we should have expected it. Assassins count as fighters. Pretty much, this guy deals incredible amounts of damage, can get in and out, or keep just bouncing from target to target and just annihilating everybody. The amount of ease he has when it comes to dealing damage is ridiculous, and he doesn't really need that much items. I mean, he does need some mana, but that can easily be rectified. But other than that, he's clears pretty quickly. His sustain picks up rather nicely. He actually can poke somebody. His ganking is decent, and when he gets an evolution, he becomes a lot better. I mean, especially when he gets his ultimate, evolves his W, things happen, or he evolves his jump. Basically, he's very versatile. He's really bursty. He can just jump in and jump out. He's very safe. He's a safe pick. Still has a higher gold requirement than the average jungler, albeit for a fight an assassin carry jungler, it's less than a lot of others. So yay for him, yay for Kha'Zix, fucking really strong. Kind of the same thing as, well, not the next one, I moved them back. Anyways, Rengar, the opposite of Kha'Zix. He can go both bruiser and fighter, but in this case, I'm putting him as fighter just for, I didn't want to put him in the bruiser one. Anyways, for fighter, fragile as fuck, but he can stealth up to someone and quadra nuke him. As far as I know, some people have been managed to get his Q off 4 times. I've most been able to get it out 3 times. So he can pretty much gut somebody. He still needs to snowball out of control in order to actually do much, and he did get nerfed beyond all comprehension. But he still can function, at least to some extent, as a bruiser and as an assassin, bursty fighter kind of thing. He's got good steroids, and he's got good things. Just, his sustain is so pathetic, and his ability to actually do stuff in team fights, in full-blown team fights, kind of sucks ass. He's good at skirmishes, and he's good at ganking. But like I said, yeah, he needs some buffs. He needs some tweaks here and there. But still high damage. You can't deny his damage, at least with ramping up his Q properly. Next one is Zed. He's actually in tier 2. This one should have been expected. Perhaps the fastest jungler in the game at the moment, though it's debatable between him and Vi and Mundo Shyvana, they're kind of the same thing. Kind of the same deal as Kha'Zix. He can get in, destroy somebody, get out. But unlike Kha'Zix, he can't keep doing that. He's limited by his energy. And it did just get nerfed considerably in different aspects. But mostly, it didn't affect his jungle at least not much. The one that affected him the most was the transfer of power between his E and his Q. But still, again, not that much. He doesn't need much items. He's very fucking mobile and just annihilates the shit out of people. I mean, squishies, not tanks. Which is fine. That's what a fighter needs to do. He needs to be able to just kill the important targets, duke it out with other fighters, and just come out on top. His damage is very high, and in some situations, potentially higher than Kha'Zix. So, you got that. He is one of the best fighters and jungle, and more specifically, jungle fighters currently in the game. Next one is Kayle. She's actually top tier in this one. She's got her supportish abilities that help her out. That kind of makes it nice. But considering just her fighting capabilities, she can be arguably the only quote-unquote ranged jungler that functions. Most ranged junglers kind of just suck ass, but because of her E, she gets to fight at a distance, and she gets a lot of damage, and it's a huge magic damage steroid. So at anything, she's kind of just safe. She gets to build damage and just fight from a safe distance in most cases and kite people. Lee Sin's kind of the same deal as a lot of other things. He keeps his utility and his tankiness, like just his natural tankiness and everything, and he can build nothing but damage items and just clobber somebody. If he wanted to build Bruiser and then he ends up building Assassin because he got fed, he can very much do that. Early game, he'll do as much, if not more damage than the others like Kha'Zix and Zed, but he quickly starts scaling down. So his late game is nothing compared to theirs. Tryndamere. He's one of those classic carry junglers, farm the jungle, get items, and murder the fuck out of people. But we've already know Tryndamere's been nerfed to hell. Has issues, power creep kind of threw him out. He did need some buffs and some reworks and touch ups and all this other good stuff. He's still one of those characters that, farm the jungle, get properly farmed, don't get disturbed, and then you can cut people in half. Sure, you'll still get kited, and sure, you'll still get outdone by a lot of others, but he's really fast and fun. For a fun factor, at least in my opinion, he's very much up there. And of course, he's one of the most cool, visually, awesome looking champions. Hell, look at this art right here, or what rendition. Fucking manly and intimidating as fuck. If anything, the best advice I can give you with Tryndamere is, your offensive items have to be tailored to your opponent, and then you can actually do stuff like I like buying Hydra versus a certain team comes, when another team comes Bloodthirster, Infinity Edge, or something with Ghostblade. It all depends on who you're fighting. That's the best advice I can give you just right now. Then the next one is Master Yi, even though he's fighting a fucking monkey right here. Master Yi's in there. Master Yi, or Yai, how some people call him, kind of the same boat as Tryndamere. Classic physical carry from the jungle melee, but soft and easy to murder. It's like, and very farm dependent. So it's like, you build him glass cannon, he dies, and all his DPS goes to hell. And considering the fact that he's melee, it's very easy for him to be murdered. You can build him bruiser, but it's nowhere near as good as the AD melee thing, specifically because it requires even more gold than he already needs. So it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, still, if he gets farmed, he clears his jungle fast, he farms like a fucking madman, and he split pushes like a god. So he still has got that going for him, even if it is something kind of minor. If he snowballs, he can pretty much win the game by himself, though, because he pushes the towers, somebody comes to fight him, he cuts them in two and just keep pushing. He's kind of like one of the best split pushers from the jungle. So, yeah. Then there's Pantheon. Pantheon is a special case here. Why? Because he's like a mix of a bruiser. Well, he is a bruiser, and he can also be built glass cannon, but in both cases, he's still an AD caster. I mean, his auto attacks are mediocre, but his whole kit, jump on somebody, nuke them down, works regardless of what you do. But if you build him glass cannon, pretty much squishies will explode. The problem is, though, he can't really build any of that from the jungle. He's one of the worst jungle farmers in the game. So he relies solely on ganks in order to get anywhere, but he's a slow clearer. He doesn't really have sustain either, so he's not going to get to gank as effectively as anybody else because, he's not keeping up in the jungle while he's getting his ass beat. Though he does have a point, click, and stun and does do good damage early, so he can get off some good ganks, but the chances are low and it's not worth the risk. I mean, if you get fed, you can dominate a game. If you don't, then you just took yourself out, and the choice bit you in the ass really hard. And now one of the more classic ones too, Gangplank in the jungle. Jungle Gangplank, I already mentioned him in the support thing, is as a carry, is one of the most expensive jungle carries in the game. And his Q doesn't fucking help him, so there's no point in farming the damn thing up. Just kill it and move on to the next camp. Just be quick about it. He needs too much gold to be effective. However, he does get some free stats from his E, he does get utility from his ultimate, and his W is still pretty damn good at getting him out of tight situations, and he has a ridiculous amount of item builds. So, you can build almost any offensive combination and it will work on him. But of course, every combination is pretty much still expensive as shit. It's like Trinity. There's Trinity Force, Infinity Edge, and all that other stuff, and then you still need other items to complement and eat him further. He needs too many luxury items, and that is something a jungler can't really do. So, like, Master Yi and Tryndamere are other jungle carries, and they have some really massive steroids and a lot of mobility, and their ultimates are amazing to help them fight. Gangplank has none of that kind of stuff. And then the last one is Jungle Fiora. Don't Jungle Fiora. It's not worth it. And I know some of you are going to get pissed off anyways and you're going to suggest it, but Jungle Fiora is good. Now, at most, she's got mediocre sustain, and then nothing else. She sucks.